Welcome, Third Rock listeners, to the Branding Laboratory. I'm your host, Deevo, Chief Experience Officer for the brand Storyteller and the Fusion Creative Brands. And each week, I have the privilege of speaking with extraordinary leaders and entrepreneurs who are reshaping the way industries work. These conversations go way beyond the surface to explore the core philosophies, the lessons, and the challenges that define the brands that we admire today. And one of the greatest rewards of this podcast is the opportunity to share the insights of some of the brightest minds in business, people who are passionate about pushing boundaries and redefining what's possible. And as I always say, the stories we tell are the brands we build. And this show is a testament to the power of that concept. Let's dive in. On today's episode of the Branding Laboratory, I had the pleasure, really the great pleasure, of speaking with Josh Thomas. He is the founder of Anabots AI, and an incredible conversation around his tool, his AI integration tool, to help small businesses and entrepreneurs integrate with their frontline sales process and customer service, and how his tool is able to revolutionize the customer journey and sales process for businesses of all sizes, really, but primarily his focus is small business, from what I understand. We dug into how Anabots AI can streamline customer communication, enhance the customer experience, and shorten the sales cycle, especially for entrepreneurs struggling to stay on top of their sales pipeline. So whether you're dealing with the challenges of a timely response, like I have sometimes, or looking to improve customer interactions, Josh's insights and his tool on the podcast today are a must listen. I really enjoyed his intellectual conversation because we covered the impact of a lot of different things, including how paid advertising and various modalities that his Anabot can work with. What stood out most for me is his ability to take complex concepts around AI, especially since he considers himself non-technical, and sales, and break them down in a way that's accessible to any entrepreneur, including myself. So it's the kind of conversation that delivers actionable wisdom, especially for those that are looking to elevate their business through smarter automation, better communication, and really enhance that customer sales cycle. So if you're an entrepreneur who wants to stay ahead of the game and improve how you engage with your customers, this episode is definitely one you don't want to miss. So thank you for tuning into the Branding Laboratory for all of the valuable insights. And so sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride with Josh. All right, today, welcome to the Brand Laboratory. We're exploring how practical AI is transforming the way entrepreneurs automate their sales process. I have some mixed feelings about it. However, my guest has built an AI-driven solution that is customer-centric, and I can speak from personal experience because he gave me a demo, and it's designed for busy business owners who don't want to get bogged down in the tech of AI, nor do they know how to do the AI properly. That's one of the things I have learned in the last few months is most people are so obsessed with using AI in a much more less pragmatic capacity that you can always tell when somebody's written something it's in AI because there's like specific keywords. But anyhow, I'm getting off track here. So one of the things that I want to talk about with my guest today is how he is integrating AI so that it doesn't replace the whole idea of a customer-centric model. And we're going to explore that. But his name is Josh Thomas, and he is an entrepreneur and the founder of Anabots AI. It's a company dedicated to building practical AI solutions for entrepreneurs. And he's going to share his insights on how AI can streamline the sales process, the customer journey for entrepreneurs like myself who don't have necessarily the time or the energy to deal with incoming phone calls all day long from the pesky customer. I'm just joking. I'm joking. All right. Welcome to the show, Josh. How you doing, brother?
Man, that was an epic introduction, and you're right. The idea is we're all curious about it. I really want to be over there where all the cool kids are, but I'm a little intimidated. I'm a little overwhelmed, and that teenager over there in the corner is talking real fast, and I'm not sure I want to look stupid. So I'm just going to stay over here where I'm at and just yearn from the sidelines. And that's pretty much how 90% of us are looking at AI. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's not like you're a bad person or anything. It's just like a natural human reaction. We don't understand it, so we tend to just distance ourselves for fear of looking dumb.
That's a larger statement for philosophically for most things, right? If we don't understand it or we have fear around it, we stay away from it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's our ego protecting us,
Yep.
and we could have I know that's not the focus of this podcast, but if you really dive into that topic right there, you will find the source of all of your customers' pain points and all of the reasons that your business is probably not doing as well as it could be because you're not hitting on those main pain points. And that's really what it is. People want to feel heard, they want to be seen, and they want validation that they're in the right place and that they didn't make the wrong decision.
Hmm.
That
All
has
about
nothing to do with AI.
all about the customer experience.
Yeah, that has absolutely nothing to do with AI because if you don't have that right, AI is not going to solve your problem.
Hmm.
It's just going to magnify the fact that you don't understand your customer. And so we got to first start with what is the problem that we're solving? What are the pain points that your customer's having? And do we have systems in place to overcome those pain points, to solve those problems? And if we have those, then we can use AI to augment those and get an exponential result. But you
All
got
right.
to be good at business in order for AI to help you get better at business. If you're already bad at it, it's just going to shine a light on it.
All right. Before we go down that journey, I did want to take a step back a little bit further, just the integration of AI and its proliferation in general, because I'd like to get your take on it. When we get to the show itself, I want to talk about how you're integrating AI in the customer journey, which is really the theme for the show. But before we go that direction, when AI first came out, and it's really became front and center in the last, let's say 18 months for most entrepreneurs and I'm sure it's been around much longer. I don't actually know the storyline on it, but I think my initial impression of it, at least observationally without having any experience, was and I got asked this question all the time. How was I going to handle this whole AI thing that was being thrown at everyone? And entrepreneurs were using it for everything from creating products to emails and et cetera. And my first thought around it was, are we going to lose the customer journey in terms of that human interaction? Because how many times do you get on the phone and you call somebody? Just the other day, I got some weird email that I had to call somebody, and I was like literally passed around by like 20 different robots to 20 different voice messages. I never ended up getting anybody on the phone, and you've had this experience. You just end up hanging up the phone. And so when AI first came on the scene, my thought was like, holy shit, even less human involvement, even less human integration. But as I started to play around with it, really exploring its benefits, I found that for me at least, and I'm assuming this is different for everybody, that it shortened the gap in the minutia of running a business for me in terms of research, data, being able to compile facts around things that I would have had to spend hours researching before, and then providing me with necessary information, like whether it's preparing for a podcast or putting together a proposal, things of that nature, being able to have some research and some context to properly prepare for that. So, from your standpoint, what's your take on AI just globally, where it is now from where it came from, and how are you using it in terms of outside of actually the platform that you built?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things worth mentioning there. First of all, there's a lot to unpack in the comments that you made, and I want to break it into two parts. One of them is that customer experience, which I want to get to in a minute. But the other one is where did it come from? How long has it been around? What has it evolved from? And without going too deep into the history here, the term artificial intelligence was first coined in 1955, 70 years ago. Most of the people listening to your podcast were not born. Some of their parents weren't born yet. And that's something worth understanding because if we think about what do you think about this AI thing? My follow up question, what is AI?
Mm,
Because it depends on number one, when we're talking, and number two, who we're talking to.
mm,
Artificial intelligence in 1955 was one thing. HAL from 2001 Space Odyssey, which came out in 1968, was a futuristic vision of what AI might be in 50 years in the future. And now we have HAL on ChatGPT, basically. But where we're at now is the reason that it's become a thing in the last 18 months, 2 years, comes down to ChatGPT, making it a commodity that's available widely to the public, mostly for free.
Mhm.
or pay a few dollars and get some extra features. And now all of a sudden everybody has access to it. It's no longer this abstract idea, but we've spent generations inciting fear and discomfort around the idea of AI. And now that everybody has their hands on it, they're like, what the hell do I do with it? We all, like anybody over 40, if I say Skynet, we know exactly what that is. It's the end of all humanity. And when the machines became self-aware and they were like, humans are a threat. And that's why actually we name our demo chatbot John Connor. He's the savior of the human race. And so what is AI really depends on who you're talking to. But if we're afraid of it, that's totally normal. We're used to being afraid of new ideas and new technology just because of what we were talking about earlier. Sometimes we just got to feel like we're protected. And when we put ourselves in that zone of admitting that we don't know something, our brain registers that as a risk. No, get out, danger, danger, go away.
Let me pause you there for a minute because when you're saying that, it brings up memories of early websites that were asking you to put in your credit card to pay for something. And I remember there was a litany of people that were like, hell no, I will never give my credit card to somebody. I'm never going to
And it
pay buy for.
stuck. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter how secure it is now,
Yeah.
that idea stuck. And it doesn't matter how helpful or beneficial AI is now, that idea from the 90s or the 60s or whatever, it's stuck. It's still in our psyche. It's still in our consciousness. We still talk about it because that's the way that it used to be. And I'm not saying it's not dangerous.
But yeah, I was going to say, but there is a pernicious side of this, which I don't know
Definitely.
if we're going to explore it or not. So it's important to note that while you may have reservations and concerns about putting your credit card into a website 20 years ago, there are pernicious things that happen when you do put your credit card in. Like you can have your identity
Absolutely.
stolen. It's all about using the tools at your disposal responsibly and being understanding the subtleties and nuances of. And the same thing with AI. There's an argument to be made that there are some pernicious qualities that could. I mean, just as a basal user myself, if you become over reliant on everything that you do and you're asking AI to do it for you, you lose the ability to have critical thought. There's a whole bunch of different avenues you can go down with that, but it's how you use it, right, in the context of the delivery that makes the most sense for me. That's how I
And
sort
a
of
lot,
termed with it.
and a lot of times it comes down to perception. I can't remember if it's like Animal Planet or whatever channel has Shark Week, right?
No idea.
And there's this whole series dedicated to the dangers of sharks. But in
Mm.
reality, across 9 billion people on the planet, about 6 people get killed by sharks every year. But if you think about it, I don't want to deal with anything that could be dangerous. But water has killed more people than sharks. Water kills millions of people a year, but we still drink a lot of water because we also need it to survive. And so there's always going to be some inherent danger in everything that we interact with. What we have to do is we just have to be aware and we have to manage that danger in the best way we can so that we can extract more benefits from it.
Well
Okay.
said.
AI is no different. About the internet, just real quick, this century, December 5th, 2000, there's a news article. You can go and look this up on the internet right now. On the internet, by the way, and it says internet may be passing fad as millions give up on it. That was
Hmm.
in 2000.
Hmm.
That was 24 years ago. And I want you to think about what we do with the internet now. And so think about where AI is at right now. Our current perception of AI. Where is it right now? I don't know. We're debating the utility of it. And that's what happens in the adoption of technology. It happened with the light bulb, the automobile, the internet, cell phones, and now AI.
Hmm.
We're going to get to this phase to where AI is not going away. And there's nobody on this planet right now that doesn't know what the internet is. There may be people that don't use it, but most people do. And that's where we're going with AI. And the best way that we can prepare ourselves is start using it now in a way that's practical, in a way that's beneficial, especially for entrepreneurs. What's the best way to use AI to benefit your business? I like to start with how do I increase your bottom line? Because if you can see an ROI, now you're like, okay, I'm bought in. There's dollars coming in the door. Tell me more.
Let me break that down for a minute because I was thinking about in my business operations, and I'm using it at a very minimal level, but of the ways that I am using AI now, and ChatGPT being really the exclusive provider for me, it's helped me streamline and automation of routine stuff, right? Repetitive tasks, data entry. I don't use it for customer support, which is something you and I are going to talk about in a little bit. but it enables me to put together, for example, my email marketing campaigns. It enables me to put together data and research when I send out emails to my database. It's helped me analyze large amounts of data. So it's improved some of my decision making because it puts information at my fingertips that would have taken me hours to explore earlier. I think another piece of it that I love most is it's their cost efficiency in terms of I was using virtual admins to do a bunch of different day-to-day minutia and paying them hourly fees. And with AI, I can basically replace that. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, you're replacing humans that giving them a job. But for me, these are someone this may sound impersonal. These are people that I don't really have any kinship to in terms of I don't owe them anything. I'm looking to run a business that can make a difference on a larger scale for a larger amount of people. So for me, it became down to a cost efficiency exercise. What would make the most bang for buck so that I can have the biggest impact? Does that make sense? And then the other piece for me, which is I'm really exploring with you now, is this streamlined customer support. I wanted to talk about a little bit this program that you've developed and where it came from, what was your ideas around it, and how did you get to this point where you are now?
So I've been building sales teams, sales processes for almost 20 years. And I've done really well for several industries. I've done poorly for other industries. And I sat down and when ChatGPT came out, and I was one of those guys. I'm like,
Hmm.
because we're just coming off of the tails of the NFT craze.
Hmm.
And then before that was the crypto mooning event. And it's just, oh, this is the next tech thing. And then it's like all these tech guys jumping on it. But this felt different because it actually seemed like it had utility. I'm not a super tech savvy guy, but I am an entrepreneur and I see that there's a desperate need for small business to be able to get an edge because I've worked with thousands of these guys in various capacities. And I've taken businesses to 2x, 3x, 5x within a 90-day window. And I didn't do that by using any kind of sales voodoo. I did that by blocking and tackling, focusing on the fundamentals.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're in an age where a lot of that blocking and tackling can be augmented and sped up with technology. And there are those who are already doing it and they're crushing. And then there's everybody else that's doing okay, but there's a gap that's widening between the haves and the have-nots. And the haves being they have AI assisting them or they have no AI assisting them. What I wanted to do is I want to bridge that gap because there's a tiny fraction of people that are super comfortable with technology and they're on the bleeding edge of innovation and they're really capitalizing on where AI is going. And then there's 90% of other businesses who are dinosaurs because they just don't know where to start. And there's nothing wrong with being a dinosaur. I'm a dinosaur, right? But we don't know where to start. Where do we start? Let's start at the place that's going to make an immediate impact. And that is automating front end sales. It's one of the easiest things you can do with AI. It's one of the lowest barriers to entry and the best bang for your buck. Now, Deevo, what you were mentioning about, hey, I can help source some material and some content, do some research. That's a great way to use AI. And you don't need to be a genius to be able to understand how that works. But it's not a step one, step two equals money.
Mm-hmm.
It's a step one, step two, and then I got to go apply it and with some research, and then eventually I make money. So let's talk about an A-B path for let's use AI, let's bring more money in the door, because I think everybody could probably use some more money right now.
Sure.
And the way that we do that is focus on the fundamentals, blocking and tackling. Let's talk about what do people expect? What do your customers expect when they reach out to you? And the main thing that they expect is they want to hear back.
Sure.
And they want to hear back now. If I'm
Which is,
reaching out,
let me interrupt. Sorry, that's a compelling point. I can't tell you how many times, and I think you and I talked about this when we first met. How many times? Because we're very responsive on our side. And like I have a rule, it's a couple of hours. If someone sends you a message, there has to be somebody from the team has to respond in a couple of hours. But I can't tell you how many times I have heard from people whom we have responded to within a couple of hours. Wow, it's really refreshing that you actually took the time to get back to me. I can't tell you how many people I've reached out to and no one's ever responded. And it baffles my mind to begin with. First of all, if you're in a customer serving position and you have people that are waiting on you and willing to give you money, and you're not taking the time to respond back to them, even 24 hours is bonkers to me. Like it literally just blows my mind. And so now you're taking even my approach philosophically and you're saying, okay, we can even streamline that and make that even better, is what I'm hearing you say.
You want to get real depressed?
Not necessarily, but hit me. It's Friday, man. I'm really looking forward to my fire
Yeah,
pit in a
yeah.
few hours.
I always make a joke about every story I ever have to tell starts with, so there was this girl. And so I always have the weirdest opener. So you want to get real depressed? Let me tell you some stats. So here's the thing. There's data behind this. People have gone and done the research. The customer expects that you are going to respond back to them within 5 minutes.
Wow.
And if you think about this, you got a toothache, you call the dentist. You want the dentist to answer the phone. And if they don't
Totally.
answer the phone, you want them to call you back and say, I'm sorry I missed you. I know you have this very expensive dental procedure and I really want to earn your business. How can I get you in? Like you want that. But if they don't call you back, you're just going to call another dentist. And here's what the stats say. If you don't get back to somebody within 5 minutes, your chances of doing business with them goes down 80%.
Wow.
Here's another stat. If you wait 10 minutes, 74% of your prospective customers, if you don't get back to them in 10 minutes, they're already talking to your competition.
Wow.
3 out of 4 just move on. They give up. Now, here's the worst one. You just nailed it. Do you know what the average response time is for most businesses to online or any potential business inquiry?
Judging on my experience from what I just shared, it's somewhere between 24 and 48 hours, I would suspect, if not longer. Yeah, that's what I would go with.
47 hours.
It's wild to me.
47 hours. And here's how you make that real. Deevo, do you remember a website you were on 2 days ago?
Mm, yours.
Do you remember a website you were on 2 hours ago?
Not today. I've not been on any websites today except for my Google Docs page preparing for your
Yeah,
podcast.
there you go. Most people have no idea what they did 20 minutes ago.
Mm.
If I were to say, do you remember, I would pool 10 people. Do you remember what website you were on 20 minutes ago? They'd be like a Facebook, maybe. I don't know.
Mhm.
They have no idea because they've already moved on. This is people are expecting you to get back in 5 minutes. You're getting back in 47 hours. And that's why you're not closing much business. But here's the thing, if you can get back to them, here's where you can save the day. If you can get back to them inside of 1 minute, statistics show that your chance of converting that into a sale goes up by 391%. You have a 4x higher chance of converting a business if you just get back to them faster. And then you might say, okay, I can't just be hovering over the phone. I can't just be sitting there waiting for a lead to come in on my CRM. Sometimes I have to be doing my job. Sometimes I'm with another customer. I'm only human.
Mm.
You're right. You're only human. And that's where AI comes in. Because what AI can do is it can give you that speed to lead and it can respond in 5 to 7 seconds. And if you get a 5 to 7 second response time, if it's on your website, for instance, that person's still on your website. If it's a text message, they still have their phone open. If it's social media, Messenger is still open when they get a response from you and they're like, oh crap, they responded. I have a follow-up question. I have a follow-up question. Okay, I'm interested. What's the next step? And then AI can handle all of that and it can take them to the next step, whether that's booking a call with you, whether it's just sending them a link to buy the product they were already asking about, or some other thing where it's solving a customer service complaint or concern that's going to save you a bad review on the internet or on Google or something like that. And so you don't have to have a super sophisticated AI to do that. You don't have to have a whole lot of knowledge about how AI works. You just have to understand your customer wants you to get back to them now,
Hmm.
and you can't. And if you can't, doesn't matter how much better you get at your sales presentation. It doesn't matter how much better of a product you get or how much better your positioning is or your people or your service or shiny website. The only thing that matters, if you just change how quickly you get back to somebody, you'll make more money. You'll close more deals. You'll bring in more profit. Literally change nothing else. And if you can, and you can do all of that with AI without interrupting, without going, I'm very bougie and expensive as a consultant. Okay. So you can hire me and come in, transform your business and stuff, or you can skip all that and just put a little AI chat at the beginning and you can 4X your sales.
Hmm. I want
That's
to
literally all you need to do.
I want to share a story. Speaking of stories, so I had two experiences this week. One of them involved my son's school, and the other one involved it's fall time, so I'm taking care of my lawn, and I'm trying to get specific seed that's designed just for the South here. And I left a voice message for the company, no callbacks. So then I decided to send an email, and then I got an auto response that said, "Hey, we'll get back to you within 48 hours." And the minute I got it, I was like, "Why is it taking somebody who in that space 48 hours to respond?" And I was like, "You know who they need? Josh." So I'm going to give you another lead. But it's a company, and they finally did get back to me, and it wasn't 48 hours. It was like 72 hours. And they didn't even answer my question. It was like a copy and paste from something on their website that still didn't answer my question. So I was thinking,
Ugh.
okay, here's a tool. But the other piece was my son's school. I had to call the school because there's a situation that I needed to address with his teacher, left a message for the principal and his teacher as well as a follow-up email and didn't even get a response. Now a week has gone by. So my thought was and this is just a question. We're going to get back to the topic of the show. In a capacity of engaging with people on a more public level, like a school system, do you see a usage in that capacity? If there's not anybody answering phones, or if I needed to speak to the principal and I had specific concerns about things, do you see a usage in that capacity for it?
Totally. And it's one of those things like you got my kid,
Yeah.
like you're in charge of my kid and you're responsible for their safety.
Yeah.
I should be able to get some sort of communication from you at any time.
Well, I was
Yeah.
thinking the same thing for you. So if you get a contract with the Union County Public School System here in Charlotte, North Carolina, I want in on that. All right, I want to go back
It's
to the origin story of how you built this because I'm fascinated about you're not, by your own admission, you're not technically savvy, which I don't really believe. But how do you come up with an idea and go to market? And how do you even learn how to program something like this to build this? Like I've often wondered, there's all these people that are doing AI. What does that process even look like behind the scenes? Can you pull the cover back on that for me?
Yeah, certainly. So the first answer that I can give you is I know my lane. And my lane is shedding light on the idea and opportunity of what you can do with your business. And then there's other people like Anna who are really good at building a machine to mimic human behavior.
Anna's your partner. I don't recognize.
Yes, Anna is the Anna of Anabots.
Hmm.
Yeah. And she focuses on building really great AI chat assistants. And then we have Will, who is a programmer and a designer, and he can build literally anything.
How do you
So
connect with people like this? I'm just where you had them in your pocket. These are people you had worked with before. Where do these people come from?
these are my friends. These are my people.
Phenomenal.
Anna actually lives with me. She's right next to me. So,
Perfect. Hey, Anna.
yeah. And she says, hey, but these are people I already knew them, but we just happen to have these complementary skills. And this is, again, going away from AI for a minute, this is solid advice for anything that you're doing. I'm great at talking to people and having conversations and demonstrating how to look at things. I would not be the guy you would want like programming your software. Will's great at programming software. I would not want him having a conversation with one of our clients. And by his own admission, he's, nah, dude, that's your game. I'm going to go over here and push these buttons, right? Finding the right people to put into the right roles as long as you as the entrepreneur, you've got this vision of what you want executed, go and get really great people to
Hmm.
execute your vision and have them put input into your vision because you've got an idea and somebody else is going to help you move that idea like 2 degrees to the left. And you're like, oh, yeah, that's totally the way I need to be going. I wasn't thinking of it that way because I'm not super techie. And so that's where one tiny piece of advice there, any entrepreneur, find your lane, stay in your lane, and surround yourself with people in the other lanes, and you'll dominate that. But
Most of our listeners are entrepreneurs, and so and we have real conversations on here. So how do you structure a business model? Because when you hire good people, there's one theory out there that says if you hire good people, you're going to lose good people because they're good people and they're very valuable, and someone else is going to try to steal them away from you or whatever. So how do you, as an entrepreneur, tailor your program so that Will and Anna are part of the program, are vested in helping you grow the business? Are they part owners in the company? How does that, can I, if I may ask, how does that play out?
yeah, sure. So I think that comes down to people's interests, desires, motivations. Some people want to be entrepreneurs. Some people want to run things.
Hmm.
And so I want to empower people who want that. If that's their motivation, I want to empower you to find something you can take ownership in.
Hmm.
Some people really just love the security of being an employee. And if that works for you, I've got several employees. They're awesome. I treat them great and I give them every opportunity to go and own something. But they're like, no, I just want to work in a structured system. Great.
Got
Let
it.
me make the best structure I possibly can for you so that you feel happy and healthy and you can produce as much as possible and that can fulfill you. So the one thing that I'll say about that is not everybody thinks like you do. Not everybody has the vision that you do. Not everybody has the same motivation or standards of expectations of income or success or whatever as you do. That doesn't make them any less of a person. You just have to meet people where they are.
Sure.
I have people who are very happy to just get a steady paycheck and they do a great job. And then I have other people who want more. Great. Let me find out how to give you more. And so that your effort and input justifies the output of what you're getting from it.
That's great. Before we actually get into this Anabot and how it works, in terms of you building the product, I'm always fascinated by how entrepreneurs have an idea and then taking that idea to market and getting it out there in the public eye. What were some of the biggest challenges that you faced in terms of getting this up and running?
Yeah, you're just gonna stick the thumb in the wound, are you? No, it's all good. So here's where we started, right? So Anna was actually doing this by herself,
Uh,
and I supported her. Okay, I got this AI chat software that I white labeled, and this was many months ago. Are you interested in owning this? Because I don't have time.
Anna
And
said
she's
this to you, or you said this to
no,
her.
I suggested it and she's like, yeah. And so she starts taking it and running with it and just couldn't get as far as she needed to. And then I was doing a couple of other things and those things ended. And that's when I realized that she's run in place. I'm like, all right, you're real good at this, but let me come in and I'll bring on some more people and we bolted together a team so that we can start moving faster. And that's where we started really picking up momentum. But as far as bringing it to market, the first thing that we tried to do was just we talked to people we knew and trusted and said, hey, we're doing this. Can you be our guinea pigs?
Mm.
And let's try it out. And then we fumbled around and we broke some stuff and we made a bunch of mistakes. And then we started getting a little bit better. And then we went out and said, hey, let's offer this for free to people we don't know. See if we can get that to work. And by the way, total disaster.
Hmm.
Don't offer things for free because nobody will value it. Half
Yeah.
the time, we'd get people to say, yeah, I'd love a free AI chatbot or whatever. And they wouldn't even show up to the call.
Yeah.
Come on, man. And so then we tried some different iterations and we finally settled on like, all right, look, we do a good job. We're different in the market. We had to create a separation because there's a ton of competition. There's a lot of ways you can get AI chat in your business. And a lot of it has to do with, all right, you sign up for this subscription and then you have to go in there and you have to build the thing.
Yeah.
And back to that original conversation, 90% of us, I don't know anything about AI. I don't want to get in there. I'm going to get lost and confused and I'm going to feel dumb.
Hmm.
And so we just took that off the table and we're like, no, we're going to custom build this for you. We're just going to charge a reasonable fee and we're going to charge you a reasonable ongoing maintenance, but we're going to give you the same experience as if you were paying us thousands of dollars for this huge custom development, but for a fraction of that price. And we're going to make sure you have a good experience. We're going to use all of my skills and expertise in building sales teams. We're going to apply it to this AI chat so that it represents your business authentically and it's producing results, and we'll make sure that it works. And then it started catching on because we started separating ourselves and saying, look, we're not like these other guys, and here's why. And so it's enough to say, it's not enough to say we're different. You have to explain why you're different, and that difference has to be an actual perceived benefit for your client. And
Sure.
our perceived benefit is you don't have to become an AI expert. You don't have to know anything. You just have to understand that using AI in your business and automating your front end sales can increase your bottom line. And that's where we come in.
So the value proposition for using a tool like yours, I heard a couple of things. A, you're managing it for me, so I don't have to get involved in the muck and the murk of the tech side. But you're also supporting it the entire time. So if there are issues, we just reach out to you and say, hey, this thing is doing this or doing that, or can we make this upgrade, can we make that tweak? Is that part of your model where upgrades, tweaks, all those sorts of things that might need to be corrected or enhanced? Is that part of it, or are those like pay to play type of
Yeah.
models?
Yeah, we just one thing that we learned a long time ago, and for anybody that's purchased software or any subscription where you get into these different tiers, you get better support if you spend more money or something.
Sure.
And what we realized is it doesn't matter how much money somebody's spending with us, they still need help.
Sure.
And so we offer world-class support at any level because that's what we would want. If you're paying me money to use my product, I want to make sure that product works. And I want to make sure that you feel seen and heard and validated, because that's what I would want as a human being.
Are you using AI support for your AI support?
We have a front line that's going to respond quickly and that can
So the
handle
two
a
are
lot of.
collaborating back and forth.
Yeah. So we have a front line of AI that solves like 80% of problems, but if whatever problem it doesn't solve, it kicks over to a human, and we usually get back within a couple hours. Not 48, no.
In terms of the business creating real solutions that drive efficiency for business owners like myself, can you now describe for us listening that how does the process work? How does the system learn? How does it become intuitive? What's that? Is the everything indexed? I'm assuming that there's somebody who's going into a company and doing an onboarding process so that all the different things, whether it's white papers, whether it's FAQs, all the different things. How do you integrate so that every approach that you do is customized for the individual client?
So we're going to create two different camps here. We're going to create known things and inferred things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Known things is information about your business that we can place in a knowledge base. So this is where we do a short one-on-one call to ask some questions. You fill out this little form and answer some basic stuff like website, your products that you sell, 5 frequently asked questions. And then we have a conversation to verify all of that and get a couple more details. And if your business is complicated, if you've got 30 products or something, send us the SKUs and the spreadsheet with those products, descriptions of those. You probably already have that handy. We can load that into the knowledge base. And now, if somebody's interacting with our AI chat, and AI chat, by the way, is not just like a little chat widget on your website. That's one place you can put it, but you can also do SMS, social media, Google My Business, and support tickets, pretty much anywhere that your customer can interact with you, either via chat and also voice. We also do voice AI calls as well.
What about
So,
paid advertising?
yeah, definitely.
You can integrate it with a paid advertising campaign.
Yep.
That's pretty fat.
Yep.
Hmm.
And so anything that we know about your business or that we can stick it into the knowledge base. And when somebody asks a question, the first thing that's going to happen is the AI is going to check the knowledge base. And it's going to come back and it's going to say, yeah, here's the answer to your question. But it's not going to necessarily grab verbatim and paste it
Yeah.
in. It's going to go look and see the answer, look at the context of the conversation, and give you a response that makes sense, that feels human.
Are you training the human-like voice based upon the principle of the company?
Yeah, so we give them personalities. One that we're building right now, the guy is like a little bit dark and sarcastic, and so we're building AI voice for him. And the AI voice is like really thick sarcasm and dropping these bizarre jokes. And then there's other people like a personal injury law firm where we need to be super steady and empathetic.
Mm.
And that translates to chat and voice. Whatever personality you want, we can build that.
Is that part of the build out or is that something
Yeah.
extra?
Yeah,
The,
there's
the,
no
so
extras.
there's a library of already pre-established avatars, if you will, and we can choose from those. And then if we wanted something customized specifically for the principle of my business, I could also do that.
Yeah.
Huh,
Yeah.
that's pretty
Yeah.
insane.
We want it to be representative of you and your brand as authentically as possible. So think about, who would you hire for this role? We can build that person for you.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. There's a lot of people doing this, and the tech industry is exploding right now. And everywhere I go, I'm seeing AI integrations this, AI integrations that. And I feel like I know the answer, but I want to hear it from your voice. How are you in a crowded marketplace differentiating what Anabots is doing versus everyone else?
I think you started on one of them just now, where here's a line we use a lot, and I already actually said this earlier. Would you hire an engineer to do your customer service?
Mm.
Would you hire an engineer to handle customer support calls? Would you hire an engineer to go and have a sales conversation? Probably not. The same way you wouldn't hire a sales guy to go and develop software, you wouldn't hire an engineer to do your sales. And so that's what's happening in 90% of these situations is some dude that knows how to code is building these AI chatbot softwares and selling them to people, but he has no idea how to have a sales conversation. And so you're using that software that was built by an engineer who has no sales experience, who doesn't know how to run a business. Wouldn't you rather use software that is trained by somebody who has built sales teams and has run multiple businesses? If you have that, then you know you're going to get that perspective of when to be empathetic, when to be strong, how to push the conversation forward and make sure that you're producing a result
Hmm.
versus just A to B logic, which is
Totally.
not enough when you're dealing with human beings.
So the niche of your product is centered exclusively around sales. You're not looking for customer support. You're not looking for troubleshooting. You're really trying to be a point of entry for anybody who needs support in the sales capacity.
So we consider that the entry point.
Uh-huh.
We can certainly do support, and it's a little bit more involved because we don't always know where those support questions are coming from.
Hmm.
But where we like to start everybody is, how do we get some front end sales automated for you, because that's going to impact your bottom line. And then
Sure.
support is the next logical thing, because if we can automate your support with AI, then you can start reducing your headcount, reducing your labor expenses, and you've got less money going out the door just to satisfy your customers.
Totally.
If we can do that with AI for a few $100 a month versus having two customer support people, if they're local, domestic, you're talking about $3, 4, $5,000 a month. If they're international, even, you're still talking about several $1,000s a month just for two employees. But if we can reduce that and have AI take over, that reduces your overhead, and that's the next logical step. But before we save you money, let's make you money. It's a lot easier to make money than to save it sometimes.
Maybe it makes sense. And this is a reactive model, right? This is not a proactive where you're actually using AI in some sort of predictive capacity to go out and do outreach. It's all reactive.
We can do outbound. There are some rules that you have to follow with outbound. There's some laws if you're contacting people in the United States, at least. But yeah, you can definitely do outbound with voice and with chat. With
Interesting.
voice, there's a lot of rules around it that you got to follow. But as long as you're following those rules, you can dial out people in your existing database, for instance, as long as you have permission to contact them in a certain way. then you can call them with AI and re-engage them. In fact, we're about to launch one of those campaigns with one of our clients.
Oh, is that right? So you're actually in that doing that. I didn't realize that. I thought it was more of just reactive. And is the model itself, the AI, is it predictive in the sense that it learns?
In the macro sense, yes. In the micro sense, not quite in the way that people envision it.
I
In the
don't mean it.
macro
I don't mean
sense,
does it become sentient? Does it? Yeah, it is not truly Terminator. I guess what I meant. Sorry if I misunderstood or misstated my question. I guess what I'm getting at is, does it aggregate all of the inquiries, whether they're proactive or reactive, and then use those inquiries to help build upon its database or its index of information so that it can predictively respond to things, or does it always have to be a one-to-one? This is the question, this is the response. Am I saying that correctly?
you totally are. And I definitely understand it. It's a great question. Here's my answer. We use OpenAI, which is the creator of ChatGPT.
No.
And OpenAI is sucking in data from all over the planet right now to improve its systems. So, yes, in that sense, your AI is always learning. But I want to caution against the idea that we want our bots to aggregate all of the data and come to its own conclusions. Because anybody who's used ChatGPT, and you go and you ask it a question like, hey, write me an article or an email or whatever, you're going to get this kind of like garbage response
Mm-hmm.
because you're not giving it good inputs. And the only thing that it knows to do is take every piece of information that it has in all of its existence, stick it in a blender, and shoot
Mm-hmm.
something out the other side, and it's going to be crap. And so you're better off at that point having a human review that data and making tweaks to the process, just like you would manage an employee. If I'm running a sales team, I'll use some AI to go and pull some insights on the sales calls. Hey, this same question came up 6 times in the last 2 days. Maybe we should change the script to answer that question before it gets asked.
Hmm.
That's an assessment a human can make because the AI has already pulled the data.
Mm.
So we use the AI to pull the data, and then somebody who knows what they're doing, who has that discernment, can very quickly just change the way that the AI is talking or communicating to get that fixed. I would rather rely on somebody that's been doing this
Sure.
than a machine to just infer
Sure.
how a human might react. And
Uh,
so you're better off at that point just getting the right person in the right seat.
sure. Does the AI itself, does it, let me see if I can say this question so it makes sense in my head. Does it compile issues or red flags or things that it's not able to construct or deconstruct and report back? And so every day the business owner or the proprietor or you and your team, you receive reports on, so Deevo's AI Anabot today,
Mhm.
it was stumped here, it messed up here. Does it know that it's able to, based upon the customer's feedback? Because I've been on these AI chats before, and I'll be like, what are you talking about? And that doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
quickly realize that it is an AI, and so I'll send something back, and then sometimes I just start fucking
Yeah.
with it. But
Right.
does your system document those, catalog those, so that you're able to respond and fix them?
Yes, sometimes some of what you're talking about is what they call hallucinations. And so they'll just make up stuff. It's like the middle child that always gets ignored and he's really eager to please you and get
That's
your
me.
attention. Yeah. So
I'm
uh, you
six of
know,
12, by the way,
oh man.
that I'm
So
compounded in my needs for that.
yeah, so you're just like, I just want to make dad happy. And so you go in and and you can do this for ChatGPT. Write me 5 testimonials. Give me 5 testimonials about my business. It will literally just invent testimonials for you. Okay, here you go. And so what we do is we actually hard code our chat to not hallucinate. You're not allowed to do that.
Hmm.
That's not cool, robot. Okay. People don't like it when you make up stuff. And that's one way to do it, to just eliminate those issues. The other thing that we do is we're constantly monitoring that, just like you said, and we're looking for those trends. Oh, I noticed that there were a couple of times where the bot got confused.
Mhm.
How do we update the knowledge base or the prompt or any of those things to make sure that this problem gets ironed out and it doesn't happen again?
Hmm.
And that's kind of part of what we do over time. We can't 100% predict
Sure.
what's going to happen on your business, but over time, we'll continuously improve because we keep monitoring that and looking at it.
Makes sense. Where do you think this is all going? Just a offshoot question. AI, where do you think it's
Where do I,
going?
where do I think it's
What's the
going?
future of this? What's the future of AI?
I certainly don't see it becoming any less prominent than it is. I believe, and I'm no futurist, okay? I stay in my lane, I keep my head down. I just try to do a real good job and provide value wherever I am. So I'm not a guy that sits around and ponders what's going to happen. But there was a well-known futurist, and his name is currently escaping me, but he wrote a book like 20 years ago about where we're going with the advancements of technology. And he wrote another book like last year, basically confirming what he said 20 years ago.
You don't know who
And
this is?
ah, I'll figure it out.
Give
The
me a
the
quote.
term is we are on a way to what's called a singularity. And he defined the singularity as the moment where humans and technology merge. Bionic implants. Think about we already have wearable glasses with AI installed in them. It's only a matter of time before that gets inserted into our brain. Actually,
Are you talking about the transhumanism stuff that what's the dude's name? Carswell?
Kurzweil, Ray Kurzweil.
The
That's the guy.
the transhumanism idea.
That's the idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
He calls it the singularity. Thank you. That's exactly who it was. He calls it the singularity. And there's this moment when humans and technology will merge. And he's predicting that's going to happen within the next 5 to 10 years. And he predicted it 20 plus years ago. And then he wrote another book, says, I still think I'm right. And I don't think he's wrong. I think we're getting to that point to where people are buying glasses that are augmented with AI.
I
It's only a
saw a
matter
guy
of
yesterday at
time.
the Optimus store picking up a pair yesterday. I think it was
Yep.
a Google Oakley integration that's on this
Uh-huh.
pair. Yeah.
And that's the next step in the evolution towards that singularity. That's where we're going. I don't remember how old you are. I'm 44. I'll be an old man trying to keep up with this, but our children will adopt this and it will become part of their regular lives, just like we adopted cell phones as adults. And it was weird for a while, but now I can't live without my cell phone. It's less than a foot away from me at all times. And at
So
some point, that's where we're going. In my opinion, that's where we're going with AI.
so do you support that transhumanism model?
I don't think it matters.
You don't think so?
Like why debate it? It's coming. You can't stop it.
So if you
You
could
know,
stop it, would you?
I don't think so, man. I think that people need to make the decisions they want to make and live with the benefits or the consequences, whatever that happens to be. I try not to involve myself in what other people decide to do with their own
So
existence.
do you, based upon that Kurzweil model, do you envision a polarity? There's two camps of opposition.
There's always going to be polarity
Hmm.
in everything: politics, technology, science,
Hmm.
religion. There's always polarity. So why would something that's so polarizing suddenly not be polarizing? Like we're polarized by the stupidest things.
Yeah,
Why would this be any different?
interesting. It's an interesting conversation, something we could explore more philosophically. Where can people find you?
Yeah, sure things. Our website is anabots.ai, anabots.ai. And if you're interested in installing AI chat on your website, SMS, social media, Google My Business, or anywhere else, or voice phone calls, you can go to anabots.ai to learn more. The best people that we can really help, we do outbound, like I mentioned, but if you have healthy inbound inquiries, if you've got an established lead generation process and you're looking to convert more of those leads without spending more on ads, or it works 24/7. So if you get calls after hours and you've got an answering service or something like that, it can save you a ton of money there. And it can save some of those sales that might have slipped through the cracks from people that got tired of waiting on you. So you can go to anabots.ai to learn more about that.
Anabots AI. Any closing thoughts?
Yes, here's the best way to really get a grasp on if you're trying to figure out how to fit AI into your business. And you're trying to look at all of these, well, which tool should I use? There's this one, and I just saw an ad for this other thing that washes my dishes for me and all these things. Here's the thing. I'm gonna like there's this Neo in the Matrix moment where I'm gonna teach you kung fu about AI right now.
Mm.
AI is just a tool. If you can learn how to swing a hammer, you can learn how to use AI. It's not complicated. All you have to do is understand AI is just a tool that's going to enhance your speed and productivity at what you're already doing. It will not be your savior. It will not turn your business around. You can do that. Deevo can help you do that. Influencer, go and watch 1,000 Instagram videos on how to get better at business or something. That can help you turn your business around. But if you're already pointing in the right direction and you need to go faster, AI can definitely help you with that. It's a tool that produces speed and productivity for you. As
Brilliant.
long as you get that, you're golden.
That was a thoughtful conversation. Thank you for that. And again, anybody who's looking to follow Josh, the show notes will have all of his social media links, website, YouTube channels, everything where you can get in touch with Josh. And I appreciate you taking the time to come on the Branding the Board today and talk to me.
Yes, sir.
All right, my friend. What an amazing show. I was on Josh's podcast several weeks ago, and I just thought he'd make a fantastic guest for our story. Invited him to join the Branding Laboratory. And what he's doing is a difference maker. And having seen the product firsthand, I can tell you it is a difference maker. I didn't even realize that I was speaking to an AI individual, which is a little bit scary, to be honest with you. But nonetheless, what he's created and just looking at it globally, holistically, from finding the right people to partnering with the right people to and if anybody who's never built a product, like it is a lot of work to bring something to market and then have success with it. And so the thing that I love about Josh is that he saw a need. That's your value proposition. He saw a problem that entrepreneurs were struggling from, and he devised a solution and is able to fix that. And that's all that's puts you in business. If you can understand what your ideal client's pain points are, and then come up with a solution to address those pain points and then figure out a way to brand yourself and market yourself so that you can speak directly to those people, you have a business and you have a sustainable business at that. And so Josh has figured out the secret sauce to that. So kudos to you, man. High fives, fist bumps, all the things. And check him out, Anabots AI, ANAbots.ai. And I'm going to put those in the show notes and whatnot. So a lot of really cool things that we talked about, and just really enjoy conversations like that. If you want to be a guest on the Branding Laboratory and you have something to share with the world, please go to my website, thebrandstoryteller.com, and fill out an application under the podcast section. We would love to have you on as a guest. My team will take care of you and get you through all the hurdles of becoming a guest. And we're going to have some great conversations just like we did with Josh. So I really appreciate that. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe here on YouTube if you're watching it there. If you're on Apple, leave us a review. That's how we grow the show. That's how we continue to get amazing guests like Josh. And then connect with us on social media at Deevo, thebrandstoryteller.com. Sorry, Deevo, the brand storyteller on social media. And again, if you are one of these individuals that's looking to elevate your brand, shameless plug for me, head over to thebrandstoryteller.com and reach out to me. Send me a DM. I would love to learn about what your juicy, audacious idea is, how you're trying to grow it, what struggles you're having, and how I might be able to help you out with me and my team and our genius at what we do. So until next time, I am Deevo. I am the brand storyteller, and that was Josh Thomas with Anabots AI. Anabots.ai. We are grateful that you joined us today on the Branding Laboratory. I know you have choices when it comes to podcasts, so I'm excited that you chose us today. Peace, sayonara. Thanks for tuning in to the Branding Laboratory. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. Connect with us on social media for more branding tips and insights. And remember, your story matters. Until next time, keep building and sharing your unique brand story. I'll see you soon.